is Justice with Judge Mablean.
All rise. Both parties, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Mablean presiding.
Thank you. You may be seated. In the matter of Terry Dixon versus Brandy Whitlock, Mr. Dixon, you're suing her. You want to reimburse you for the cost of an engagement party in the sum of $1,812.63 because you believe that she lied to you about her marital status. And Ms. Whitlock, you say he never asked.
Yes.
He didn't ask. I didn't tell. What is all this about?
Well, we had a big engagement party that I paid for, and I found out after the fact that she had already been married before, after leading me on to believe that this was her first marriage.
Okay, so let's get to how we got to let's start at the beginning and tell me how we got to an engagement party.
Yes, well, we actually met 6 months prior. I wined and dined her. I mean, it was honestly great. Everything was great. It was a breath of fresh air. She was nice to me. I was nice to her. We hung out a lot, went out a lot, spent a lot of time.
So you enjoyed each other's company?
Yes, a lot, yes.
Okay.
Actually, one day we were watching a TV show, one of her reality shows that she likes, and a lady on there, I guess, had been getting married and jumping into relationships one after the next, and I made a comment about how I didn't like that. And I said that I want my future wife, I want to be her first husband, and I made that clear. And I felt like that was a great time for her to tell me that she was married, but instead, she let me propose to her.
You were watching this show, and you said, I want my wife to be, I want to be her first husband. Mm-hmm. And then, what happened in the relationship after you made that comment?
Nothing much. I mean, we just went on as normal. We grew closer and closer together, opened up a lot to each other, until I eventually proposed to her.
And when you proposed to her, how did you get to an engagement party?
You know,
and I take it she said yes.
She said yes.
Okay.
And then now it's, the engagement. And so she mentioned that she wanted to have a big party because we have a lot of family and big friend groups. I wanted a small party. It's only been 6 months. I figured maybe we'll have a bigger wedding or something, but she insisted. So I said, okay.
So now you threw the party?
Yes.
So friends and family believe you're engaged?
Yes.
And suddenly you broke up?
Yes.
How did the breakup occur? Is that where you come in?
Yeah, so the breakup occurred because, my aunt unfortunately disclosed a little bit of information and made a remark to him that made him insinuate.
Big mouth on.
Yeah. and made him insinuate that I was not telling the truth about a previous relationship. And so he did a little bit of digging and found out that I was previously married.
You mean he had to dig to find out?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me go back to you. So how did the conversation happen between you and the aunt?
Well, yeah, so I went into...
At the engagement party?
At the engagement party, yeah. So I went inside to grab some towels or something, and she was standing there. So I went up to her and just was telling her how much I loved her niece and how much I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with her. And then her aunt, she leaned in and said, well, I hope you make it last this time. And at first, I wasn't...
Ooh, aunt has a problem with you, huh?
She does.
She thinks you're a deceitful person. That's why she wanted to put this man on notice. Oh, I think you a little...
She wasn't happy about me leaving my previous relationship.
Okay, so when she said, I hope it make it last this time, that threw you for a loop,
yeah,
right?
I kind of just laughed it off, in the moment. But I spent the whole week thinking about it. And so actually, later that week, I went out with my friends at the bar, and I told them what she had said to me. And then some of them cracked some jokes, but one of them actually said, well, maybe she's married before. And at first, I didn't think that was possible just because how close we were. We talked about everything under the sun. So they found out some kind of way. They looked online, and so we actually found out that they had just gotten divorced literally like a month before we met.
So all this time, you never asked that woman, had she ever been married, and you knew what you were looking for when you said, I want to make sure that I'm the first husband. You didn't bother to turn to her then and say, so am I going to be your first husband?
Well, we talked about everything. We talked about past relationships.
Okay, what she said about past relationships?
Well, she had dated some guys in the past, but they just didn't work out. She never said that she was married.
Really? Is he telling the truth?
Yes, Your Honor, he's telling the truth.
All you ever said when you talked about the past was I dated guys in the past and it didn't work out.
Yes, Your Honor. I mean,
why were you so deceitful?
I wasn't deceitful.
What you call it?
Not being as forthcoming.
Not being as forthcoming is just a lot of words for deceitful. You're talking about the past,
Yes.
and you never mentioned that I've been married.
Yes. I mean,
There was a reason for that.
yes, there was.
Why?
My past relationship was very emotionally abusive, as well as my ex-husband was very emotionally unavailable. Whenever I needed something small or large, he always put me down. That was something that I was processing and that I didn't really know how to disclose to Terry. And this
You
relationship...
didn't have to disclose that. All he wanted to know is whether you'd been married.
But
He didn't ask you to tell him all about it.
He didn't ask that specifically, though.
But he made a comment.
Yes.
I want to be the first husband. Very clear. You knew at that point, if he hadn't said it before, and if he hadn't asked any questions before, now is the time to reveal.
Yeah.
Why didn't you reveal then?
I just didn't know how to. I didn't want to lose such a great man. I didn't want to lose this relationship. I was scared, honestly, to lose such a great man.
You know, you weren't scared to lose him. You didn't want to lose him.
Yes. Yeah.
So you still lost him? You thought he would never find out?
No, I planned on telling him. I was going to tell him after the engagement when we went to
After
couples
the engagement?
Why would you tell him after the engagement?
because I wanted us to go through couples counseling so that we had somebody there to help mediate the conversation, because I knew that he felt so strongly about it based on his visceral reaction that he had when we were watching the show. So I knew that, we needed somebody that could help me, explain to him that this was something that I didn't want to relive because it was so traumatic, but I still love you and I still want to make this work.
So the friendship, the relationship, the love wasn't strong enough to find out why did you divorce your husband before? What can we do to make sure that doesn't happen again?
No, because I felt betrayed. I mean, at this point, I consider her a liar.
How long after the comment was made about I want to be the first husband did you propose to her?
About 3 months after.
Oh, so you had 3 whole months to let him know after that comment was made.
Yes, Your Honor. But
Before you accepted the engagement.
Yeah.
Before you said yes. Yes, I would like to marry you, but there's something I need you to know before.
Yeah. I didn't, again, I knew that we needed to talk about it. I just couldn't find the words to say it. I couldn't find the right opportunity.
Lady, please, don't play me. Don't play me. You didn't want, like you said, the most honest thing you said was I didn't want to lose it.
Yeah.
But you didn't think it through.
Yeah.
Because you still were going to lose it once he found out you were lying. I'm going to give both of you a copy of my book before you leave here. And it's called Look Deep Before You Leap.
Please.
To avoid unhealthy relationships.
Yes.
And you all need to learn to ask the pointed question. Not around the bush. Not I didn't think. I figured she would. Hey, what's your name? What's your status? You married? Unmarried? You been married before? How many times? How did the marriage end? Why did the marriage end? Come on. Even when you go down to to apply for the marriage certificate, do you know the first question they ask? Have you ever been married before? What were you going to say then?
Honestly, Your Honor, I
You probably was going to lie and say no.
I would have had to disclose it at that point.
No, you wouldn't have had to. You could have said no.
And now I have trust issues because of this.
Well, no, you don't have trust issues because of that. You just got to learn to ask the right questions and to do your homework. Look, some folks call it snooping. I call it figuring finding out. You can go online to the court records now. But you just ask the questions. Have you ever been married before? Are you divorced? Let me see a copy of the divorce papers. Do you know how many people claim they're divorced and they're not? That's a big issue too. So now you pay for the engagement party and you think she's supposed to pay you back because you paid for the engagement party.
Yeah, we only had a big party because of her. If it was we would have had a
You had a
small
big party because of the two of you.
Right.
I wanted a small party with just a few people.
But you agreed to a big one. So you got your engagement party. I'm not going to make her pay it back. You asked her to marry you. She said yes.
I would have never gone through this process.
You lucky you said something to your boys at the club because you would have married her.
Yeah.
So at least you found out.
I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I am too. You can't do that though. And I don't think there was this. You didn't ask. It would have been deceptive if she had said, no, I've never been married, and she'd lied to you. She didn't lie to you.
What about lying by omission?
She didn't lie. She was deceitful, but I can't charge her with being deceitful. Do you know how many relationships are filled with deceit? When somebody says, I I've never had sex outside the marriage. I can't charge you with something because you had sex outside the marriage. That's deceitful. Okay, what if she told you I've never driven before, but now she drives? Now I'm supposed to pay for the engagement party because she lied about driving. There's no law that says you can't be deceitful in a relationship, unfortunately. Do you know how many deceitful statements are made in the courting process that people rely upon and find out later? That's why you have to look deep before you leap. Judgment for the defendant.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I just hope we can just go our separate ways and never see each other again, honestly.
I'm sorry that you feel this way. I still have love for you, and I wish you best in your next relationship.